All right, guys, we are still pumping in these crypto markets, which goes to show why it's completely unpredictable. I think my video yesterday, we're at what, like 102, something like that. I was kind of thinking to myself, well, we'll probably have a little bit of a pullback. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe a little bit of pullback. Went from 94 to 102. Okay, pullback. Nah, we just keep on going. Now we're approaching 104 for Bitcoin. I didn't realize this, but the all-time high for Bitcoin was 108. I never realized we got that high. I really thought we were like 104, 105. So, yeah, we really did have a pretty big dump. We went from 108 all the way down to like, what, $70,000 Bitcoin in the last couple months. But again, if you look at the charts, if you look at previous cycles, this is all normal stuff. Like we said yesterday, why is this all coming back? Well, you got the Trump situation. Trump's coming out now. He's tweeting left and right. He's making deals with China. He's making deals with Europe. It is like this whole tariff thing. It's almost like Trump's like, what did I get myself into? I'm done with this whole tariff shit. Let's just make a deal. And it sounds like most of these countries are ready to make a deal. So we pretty much told you guys, at least I told you guys on this channel a couple months ago, once this tariff thing is ironed out is when Bitcoin is going to make its run and probably when we're going to alt season. I think the next big thing is that we're probably going to have a deal with China probably in the next couple weeks because they've got that big deal, that big meeting in Switzerland between Trump officials and Chinese officials. I think once that happens, that's going to be the catalyst that takes Bitcoin to like $130,000, $140,000. So that could be happening all next month. We're on track right now to have a really good summer. Like think back to like 2021 bull market where everything was going crazy. We are on track to have all that right now. Ethereum, look at Ethereum. Everybody was saying Ethereum's dead. Everybody. I don't think much of Ethereum either. But when you see everybody talking about something being dead, you know it's hit a bottom. You know it's going to pump, especially in crypto. Ethereum's the second biggest cryptocurrency. That's not dead. Just because it's not pumping doesn't mean it's dead. It's the second biggest. So, yeah, if it was like Hex or something like that, you could say it's dead or whatever, but like some lower cap coin. But you can't say the second biggest coin is dead just because it's not pumping the way you want it to pump. Now, obviously, like I've been saying, Cardano is going to do far better than Ethereum. Theta, Litecoin, all these smaller cap coins are going to do far better than Ethereum. But you can't deny a 20% pump over 24 hours for a big cap altcoin, guys. We're at 2,363 for Ethereum. We're half of all-time high. What you're seeing right now is basically just Ethereum, which is an altcoin, just catching up with Bitcoin. It's all a catch-up, guys. Bitcoin pumps first. It might pump first for 6 months. It might pump first for a year, and then eventually the altcoin catches up. Look at some of these other altcoins. XRP. XRP is going to be back up to $2.50 probably by the end of the day at this rate. Cardano, 80 cents pretty much. Not too shabby for Cardano. Dogecoin up 13%. Let's go down the list. Shiba up 13, 8%. Like 35% for Pepe. So now all these little smaller cap meme coins, everybody was saying meme coins are dead. They're not fucking dead. They will be dead. They will be dead when we go into the bear market. But most coins right now are up between 10 and 20%. If you go on the second page, 22% for Bonk. What was I going to say? What's Theta up? Is Theta even on the second page anymore? Theta up's 15%. Everything's pretty much up right now. So guys, the pump continues. I saw this video from Tom Lee. Tom Lee is always right. There's a few people in the markets who I respect. I've been saying this for a long time. It's just Tom Lee at this point. There was another guy, this Alicio guy, but I kind of find him to be more of a salesman too, because he's one of those guys who he puts out multiple scenarios, and then whatever scenario happens, he'll go back and say he called it, and he'll play a clip. And to me, that just rubs me as the wrong way, because you put out 20 different scenarios, so you can never be wrong. But Tom Lee is a guy who doesn't put out a lot of scenarios. He just basically tells you what the fuck is going to happen. This video from Tom Lee came out a couple days ago before we had this big pump. he's basically saying that we're still bullish. The stock market's bullish, and things are looking good. This is a 4-day-old video, so
expectations. I mean, that'd be one thing, and then I think the things that were leading us down, whether it's Tesla or the Mag 7 or Bitcoin, they've begun to recover. In fact, as you know, Bitcoin's above its April 2nd level. So Bitcoin, I think, is telling us the S&P should recover towards the 5,800 level in the near term, and that's still upside from here.
Yeah, that was another one of your calls, that it would catch up with gold, and it's lagged in the past. What about some of your good calls or accurate calls, Tom, have been based on inflation? And it's a real sort of a push and pull between what we're worried about with tariffs, which would theoretically, restart inflation, even if I don't know if restart's the right word. Maybe there is some still left in the pipeline. But oil, I just always think that the most important factor in inflation, which ripples through everything, is oil. And you look at oil, and I think that could counteract a lot of what we see from, maybe even not only offset the tariff inflation, but actually be more important. So what's the Fed do?
Well, I agree with you, Joe. I mean, the two leading indicators for inflation should be, like you said, commodities, and oil is telling us inflation is weaker. And the labor market, the JOLTS data shows the job market's not that strong, so there's not really a wage pushing inflation. And I think the inflation data recently shows inflation is tracking lower than expected. The Fed has been on hold, and they're saying they're waiting for tariffs. But what's interesting is the ECB has been cutting rates, even though there's...
Yeah, and that's a whole nother thing with this whole, Trump is furious right now with Jerome Powell because Jerome Powell refuses to lower the rates. If Jerome Powell came out and he said he was going to lower rates, we'd probably be at $150,000 Bitcoin overnight. That's really what we're waiting for. So kind of what I think is going to happen is, I think at the tippy top of this alt season, which is probably going to be, and I hate making timing videos because I'm always wrong. Well, I'm not always wrong, but it's hard to predict it exactly when. I've always said going into the summer, then we've got, August, September, going into fall. I can't see this alt season being any longer than that. I think we're probably going to be at the end of it by then. But we could, at the end of the summer, have Jerome Powell come out and actually lower rates. And I just can't see him withstanding the pressure of Donald Trump. All these other countries are lowering rates. You got Tom Lee talking about why isn't he lowering rates, CNBC. So I think what you're going to see is Jerome Powell cave very, very soon in the next couple months. So guys, Tom Lee called it. He pretty much said it. Now, with all this said, I do think we're going to have a horrendous bear market going into the end of the year. I think we're going to go into a recession. I think it's inevitable. I think we're due for one. Recessions only last 6 to 8 months, but a recession in a bear market for Bitcoin, I think we're going to have a $15,000, $20,000 Bitcoin. I think Michael Saylor is going to get liquidated. I think Cardano is going to go back down to 5 cents. All these things are still on the table. It's just not going to happen right now. With crypto, it's all about timing. Get in, get out. Get in, get out. If you fuck up the timing, you don't make any money in crypto. Right now, the timing dictates. Hold your crypto. You should have been holding for the last couple years. We're in the bull market, and we're going into alt season. No matter what happened the last couple months with tariffs, and everybody's on my comments saying it's over, and we're going into a bear market. We knew, all you guys who watch my channels knew that wasn't going to happen. It was just common sense. So now we're basically in the time frame where we're waiting to hit those price levels that we want to hit, hopefully in the next couple months, going into summer, and then we sell. If you don't sell your Cardano at $2 or $3, whatever we hit or whatever it is, if you don't sell your Bitcoin at 130, 140, I had somebody on my comments say, well, I'm going to start selling all my Bitcoin little by little at 110. Very smart, because just think, guys, this time last week, everybody was miserable. The sentiment was miserable. Now this week, we're happy again, and we will be miserable again. And we're going to have pullbacks, and we're still going to, maybe we'll hit $110,000 Bitcoin by the end of the weekend. Then we'll dump back down to 102 or something like that and level out there for a little bit. Like, you just don't know. But you have, like, holding these assets, or whatever you want to call them, is extremely risky. Especially right now with Bitcoin, with Michael Saylor having so much Bitcoin. It's just like the house of cards is going to crumble. It's just inevitable. But as of right now, we have another 3 to 6 months of bullishness in these crypto markets. And I'm confident about that. Alex Masensky, this fucking guy. God, I hate this guy. This is one of the Celsius, BlockFi, all these. When I first started making crypto videos, I said don't use any of these fucking things. BlockFi, Celsius, iTrust Capital. I know iTrust Capital hasn't collapsed yet, but like any of these things, like I knew they were all going to collapse. UST, where you get the 20% interest. I knew it was all a scam. Well, he ended up getting 12 years. A federal court has agreed with the Trump-appointed U.S. attorney to levy a harsh sentence on former Celsius CEO Alex Masensky. Man, I remember this guy. He was like 5 days before Celsius collapsed. He was selling all of his crypto into cash, and then he was going on interviews on CNBC telling people everything was fine and they should be investing in Bitcoin and they should be holding on Celsius. Like, this guy is horrible. I don't know how. Well, this says 20 years. I guess they were asking for 20, but he got 12. He should have gotten 20 years. You got to make an example out of these guys. I guess because Celsius was just a lot smaller than FTX and all that, he got less time. But he is an older guy too, I guess. Betting markets, blah blah blah, 11%. Yeah, so that, he got 12 years. So he'll probably be out in 5. Honestly, this was kind of a light sentence for this guy. But this guy is such a freaking scumbag. Prosecutors have requested Masensky be sentenced to at least 20 years in prison. Blah blah blah. But he didn't get it. He got 12. I don't know. I mean, it was just such a blatant scam. So anyway, but the good news is you're seeing the scammers of the previous cycle. They're getting sentenced. In 4 years, in 4 or 5 years, we're gonna see Michael Saylor. He'll just substitute this picture right here of Alex Masensky, and that's go into a time machine and go 4 years into the future and just put Michael Saylor, because this is, guys. I'm not trying to say shit like that, but like there's no question in my mind. Like there's no question in my mind that's the kind of shit we're going to be seeing. All these charlatans you see right now telling you to buy shit and buy their stock because they're buying Bitcoin, they're going to be getting sentenced to 20 years as well. All right, like I said, everybody is bullish right now. Rand Nooner. Is this the run where Bitcoin catches up to gold? No, it's not. I don't think so. In the past, we have seen gold rally first and Bitcoin play catch up. That is true. And if you have noticed over the last couple months, gold has been all-time highs, going absolutely crazy. And then Bitcoin usually lags behind, and then Bitcoin catches up. Then what catches up the Bitcoin? The altcoins, and you're starting to see that right now. So when did he do this? Today? Okay. Yeah, but overall, everybody's bullish. He's got all these green bubbles right here, all the green bubbles. So it is a good time. I know it was depressing over the last couple months. I'm not gonna lie, but it's not just depressing. It's just like I have other shit to do. Like somebody was saying in my comments, like, why aren't you making more crypto videos? Like, I don't know, guys. Like I have other shit. Like I have other hobbies over the last couple years. Like I like every year for the last couple years now, I've been buying an old Jeep. I'm actually looking at old Jeeps right now. I'll buy an old Jeep Wrangler, like a 94 YJ, or sometimes I go up as high as the TJs. I'll buy one for like $2,000 or $3,000 that needs like a lot of body work and stuff like that, and just looks like shit. And I'll paint it. I'll do the oil change. I'll put a new radiator in. I'll give it a nice oil change, clean out the valves, put valve cover gaskets. Maybe put on new tires, and I can end up selling the thing for like $8,000. My last Jeep, I bought for about $2,500. I sold it for about $7,000 last summer. I put maybe like $800 into it. So I'm looking to do that again right now in the summer. I'm actually looking at one right now on Facebook Marketplace. So you can see it right here. So yeah. So I have other things. I have other hobbies. But as we're going into the bull market right now, I understand I need to be changing. I need to be paying attention right now, because the next 3 months in crypto is where we're gonna make our money, and then after the next 3 or 4 months, we're going to be in complete bear market for another 4 years, and it's going to be a nasty one. If anybody doesn't think the next bear market's going to be nasty, ooh, man, it's going to be nasty. So, okay. Dogecoin, Cardano lead market gains as Bitcoin traders eye next Fed meeting. Analysts say they expect a 100-point basis cut in 2025, with easing likely to start in July. So this is kind of what I was talking about. So say we're at $120,000 Bitcoin in June, 130 in July. Everything's great. Your altcoins are going great. Oh my God, Cardano's $2, blah, blah, blah. Litecoin's $250. What's going on? This is great. We're in full-blown alt season. Then most people are predicting around July or August, Jerome Powell comes out and he does a rate cut. Well, that's going to take us into the euphoric stage of alt season, where your bus driver's talking about it, your teacher, your tutor, your dog, your cat, like everybody's talking about it. And of course, that's going to be the tippy top. And that's when we're going to be selling all of our crypto. So like I said, guys, the way things are lining up right now, it's like perfect. We couldn't be asking for anything better. And, especially with the tariffs being rectified, the possible rate cut coming in a couple months, the way that Bitcoin just decided to fucking pump $10,000 in 2 days, from 94 to 104, around where we are right now. Like, come on. I mean, this is what we've been waiting for the last 4 years, right? And we're arriving right now. And yeah, there'll probably be setbacks. We're gonna have dumps. There's gonna be problems. There's always, nothing goes completely smooth sailing. But seeing Bitcoin pump $10,000 or $9,000 in the last couple of days, that is encouraging, and that does line up with previous cycles that were in full-blown bull market. So yeah, and Cardano is one of the top performers, almost back up to 80 cents. Litecoin doing well. Litecoin almost back up to $100 beyond Bitcoin. Why Litecoin caught Wall Street's eye? For years, Bitcoin held the spotlight as the poster child for crypto. I'm not going to read the whole article. Litecoin developed in 2001 by Charlie Lee. You don't hear much from Charlie Lee anymore, ever since he sold all of his coins. But the point is, Litecoin's a good one. I've been talking about Litecoin for a while. Every payment processor that takes crypto uses Litecoin. Wall Street, I believe there's a Litecoin ETF right around the corner. So I'm overly bullish on Litecoin. In fact, Litecoin is the one coin that I actually bought more of about 4 or 5 months ago. So, Litecoin, I do expect it to hit between $400 and $500, going into July, August, September. And like I said, this bull market might go into the fall. It might go into like October, Halloween or something like that. I don't know. The timing's weird. I don't know. I take it day by day. But my point is, we do have time here to get some of these levels. We're not like, it's not like we only have a month left. I saw Hex is up about 20%. Richard Hart, I said yesterday, is no longer under litigation by the SEC. You're starting to see a lot more action on Hex on the forums. I was on Reddit the other day. There's a lot more people coming in talking about Hex. So I would expect Hex and Pulse Chain to do pretty good as we go into the bull market. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. Bitcoin 103,605. The big, like I said, the big story is Ethereum. It just hit a bottom. It did nothing for 6 months, and now all of a sudden it's just rocking and rolling. So congratulations to people who decided to sell Ethereum. Oh man, everybody's always wrong. You guys know I do a lot of running, so I listen to a lot of podcasts. About a month ago, Crypto Lark Davis, who is a very popular YouTuber, he came out and he said, I'm selling all my Ethereum. He sold all of his Ethereum. And now look at it. Now Ethereum's back up to 2360. I don't blame him, because I really wouldn't want to hold Ethereum either, the way it was doing nothing. But everybody was saying it was going to do nothing. And now it's one of the top pumpers. Solana back up to 171. So, good. Congratulations to people on Solana. I fully expect Solana to get back up to all-time highs. Cardano almost back up to 80 cents. So everything's just overall, this has just been an overall good week. We still have a lot more to come. Now, I remember Trump came out yesterday. He said, this is a great thing about Trump. He's like, it's a great time to be buying stocks right now. He's like, we have a lot of trade deals ahead. So that means probably in the next couple of weeks, we're going to hear about a China deal. We're going to hear from Mexico. We're going to hear from Canada. If you guys remember, the new Canadian Prime Minister was just visiting the White House. So the next month is going to be a lot of good news, guys. It's going to be a lot of good news coming from Donald Trump. He's trying to pump these markets. There was a poll that came out about a week ago, and it was on how Trump's handling the economy. And obviously, we had a lot of turmoil because of the tariffs, which had to happen. But that hurt Trump's approval rating. And Trump is all about approval rating. That's all he fucking cares about. And he's like, and I think Trump said to himself, fuck, I got people who now are not giving me great numbers on the economy. And Trump just can't handle it. So now he's doing everything in his power to get these trade deals worked out, pump the markets, and that's exactly what's happening. And that's why you're seeing stocks up, Bitcoin up, everything up. So things are looking overall positive. I'm excited. You know, I'm making a lot more videos. I've been making a lot more videos as the markets are, as we're getting back into that bull market during the summer. I usually make more videos in the summer anyway, just so I have more time. But look, I mean, we just need to be paying attention for the next couple months. When we start to hit July or August, we'll seriously be looking at price levels, and I'll probably be making videos about, you know, starting to get out of these markets. But yeah, if you're in Bitcoin and we get like $110,000 Bitcoin, probably not a bad idea to take 20-30% off the table, and then every $10,000 after that start selling more. Look, it's up to you, whatever you want to do. But like I said, as we go into that bear market, probably at the end of the year, we're probably going to have one of the worst bear markets in crypto history. Like I said, MicroStrategy is probably going to get liquidated. You know, bad stuff is going to happen. I also see a 6 to 8 month recession most likely happening end of this year, going into next year. So we don't want to be in these markets. All right, guys, like and subscribe. Talk to you later.